Grossisten.com.
Considering you just beat a former champion, and you know obviously Faber and Cruz are fighting, do you consider yourself the #1 contender after Faber?
That's up to the UFC, you know. My job's just to come here and fight and go back to the gym and get better. So it's up to Dana White and Joe Silva and Sean Shelby.
This one's for Travis. Do you have you said you wanted to kind of show what you can do. Do you have an idea of a guy you'd like to face next? And also to Dana, kind of similar question, you know, where do you think Travis is? What do you think you might want to do next with him?
You want me to answer that first? Or
yeah, you first, please.
You know, I think Dana White and Joe Silva, they're in the position that they're in because they put together great fights. That's not my job, that's their job. I'm there to beat anybody that they put in front of me. So, you know, it's just at this point in my career, I'm just blessed to be a part of the UFC and to get the chance to fight and put on a show for you guys like I did tonight. You know, I'm constantly looking to move up. You know, Mr. Joe Silva, Dana White, they've done such a good job with me for my past 3 fights that I just leave it in their hands to you know, continue doing their job.
Dana?
Yeah.
Possible opponents for Travis?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for Stefan Struve. Great record. Guy's had some great fights in the UFC, big comebacks, and it was a big win for him tonight. Big win. Definitely puts him in the mix.
For Demetrius, please. Obviously, it was a very closely contested fight throughout. Can you tell us how you felt at the end of 15 minutes? Were you confident that your hand was going to be raised, or was there a little bit of doubt there?
You know, after the first round, I kicked Miguel, and he checked, and I felt like I broke my leg, you know, when I stepped back. And so, you know, after, I knew he won the first round, but it was kind of controversial. You know, me and him were going back and forth. You know, we both had heel hooks on each other, just back and forth scrambles. And then the second round, you know, I think I controlled it a little better on the wrestling. And then the third round, you know, I think I beat him up on the feet. You know, he's supposed to be taller, 76-inch reach. I'm 66. I was pushing for it, and I was hurt, so. But I was very happy about my performance, and I'm just happy to come away with the W tonight.
And there's a little bit of controversy on the internet right now. A lot of people are saying, hey, I think Miguel maybe won that. You know, Demetrius did great keeping top position, but, you know, he was rallying out submission after submission after submission. What do you point to when you say, hey, you know, I do think I won that fight? What is it that you point to?
Oh, I mean, you're looking at the feet, you know, I don't think he hit me once in the feet, not once. And on the ground, you know, I control the top and the wrestling, so there's 2 parts of the aspect of the game right there. I mean, he was throwing submissions, but he couldn't finish me. And I passed guard, and I kept on coming and coming, and I was hurt. I never backed up. I always came forward. So that's my argument right there.
So for Roy, please, obviously, you said you got out-wrestled tonight, but you know, he was pretty dangerous in the tie clinch as well, a lot of knees and things like that. You slowed down, both guys slowed down a little bit, but as it went on, was there any damage from the strikes, or, you know, was it conditioning? What was it that kind of slowed you as time wore on?
I think the biggest thing is, you know, going up to Toronto, I got the Canadian flu bug. But no, I think most of it was just, you know, Frank's just big, and you know, just got to get bigger, stronger, you know, faster. I think that was the only thing that, you know, the stand-up, not so much. You know, I didn't even get hit that, you know, I think the only thing that hurt me, or not even hurt me, but like hit me clean, was an elbow that was when I was on my back.
I saw some knees.
Not the knees, yeah.
Knees hit my elbows. You know, so
I thought one hit your chin.
But no, for the most part, I didn't get hit. You know, I blocked a lot of things. I learned a lot from the Dos Santos fight. So it wasn't that. It was just I just moving a lot of weight. And then when I got, you know, out wrestled, it just, you know, I was just like, it's a big man to get off. But I kept on getting up. So that's all that mattered.
Obviously, it's not a new question for you, but you talk about getting bigger, stronger, faster. A lot of people say, man, Roy would be outstanding if he would consider 205. Is that ever even a consideration that maybe rather than get bigger, maybe get smaller?
Or if you would consider 240, maybe.
Like I said, more gym time. No, it's just, it's just bigger, stronger, faster. And just go out there and just push the pace. There wasn't nothing. I just got out wrestled because my mindset was a little bit different than, you know, mine was just hit Frank in his face more than he hit me. and I just got out wrestled. Frank was just strong. And then when I got on the ground, the only thing I had to do was just get him off me. I wasn't worried about submissions. I wasn't worried about anything else. It was just, I got to get back up. And that's all it was, and that's what won him the fight, was the takedowns. It wasn't the stand-up, it wasn't anything else. It was just the takedowns.
And lastly, for Brian, obviously this is an emotional fight for you. You were very emotional after the fight, but you also got down next to George and had a few words for him. Can you share with us, what you shared with George during that?
Yeah, I just told him straight up that it was an honor to face him and that he's a true champion. Thank you so much for the opportunity. When we go in there and you get the top-level guys on any given night, anybody can win or lose. And so the fact that it was my night, I know what it's like to be down there laying on the mat looking up the lights having lost. It's a really tough feeling, but I think that as long as two guys go out there and fight very hard, both efforts should be celebrated. But as fighters, we have the tendency, after you lose, you go home, you want to close the shutters, you don't want to look at anybody, you feel ashamed because you lost your fight. But it's really not the fact. If you go out there, do what you're paid to do by, go fight hard, you should be proud of yourself. And I just wanted to let him know that I really value the fact that he fought me. He's a guy that when I'm 40 and I look back on my career, I'm going to tell people, hey, here's a guy I fought. Because when you look at his past fights, they're pretty darn amazing.
This question.
Thanks, Rampage.
This question is for Travis. If you look back over Struve's last couple of fights, it seems like he's a guy that hasn't really been in it until he's been rocked a couple of times. After you hit him with a couple of good ones, were you a little cautious going forward?
No, I mean, once we clinched up, I really realized how, because he put on some size and stuff like that, and being training partners with like Phil Davis and Brandon Vera and even Joey Beltran, those guys are strong, man. But once I clinched up with them, I realized that was my strength, what I mean? And so we clinched up, took them down, beat them up a little bit. But no, I mean, the first round. I think that's my style, is just coming for you. Like I said in my pre-fight interview, I'm coming fast, coming hard. You know what I mean? So that's my style.
A question for Matt. Matt, are there any positives that you can take away from a fight like this against a guy like Rampage, who you asked for in a main event, biggest fight of your career to date? And where do you see yourself going forward?
Well, I still have a lot of work. I mean, the way I fought on Rampage, it's a good fighting. It was the first time being a former UFC champion, so it was a good experience. But I just have to go back in the gym and find out what's wrong, because it seems like backing down. Then I just get back up.
And for Brian, please. We spoke earlier in the week. You said your goal for this year, at the start of the year, was to break into the top 10. 2 fights and 5 months in. I would say you've done that with the performance tonight over George. What do you set as the new goal for the rest of the year?
It's to be the #1 contender, to get put myself in a position where I can fight for the title one day, and really that's as much in the octagon as it is in the gym. I think I'm still about 2 years out until you'll see the best Brian Stander can be, which some people may get discouraged. It actually encourages me because I know that there's still so many areas that I can continue to get better, and I think that makes me dangerous for anybody else who's going to fight me.
For Travis, after your fight, you mentioned a name of somebody that you were dedicating the fight to. Can you tell a story about what that was all about?
Yeah, his name's Rick Barton. When I kind of had a tough time, coming up, and right out of high school, I was basically out of my house, and they took me in and let me stay with them. And Josh Barton, who's his son, is one of my best friends, and him and his family have been like an adopted family to me. And this last year he's been going through I think it's called neuropathy from adult onset diabetes. So he's constantly in pain, and you just see him kind of struggling and stuff. So I wanted to dedicate this fight to him, especially with that knockout.
And for Demetrius, this was kind of asked, but when the fight was over, what were your thoughts as far as and were you thinking I've got it, or were you thinking I hope I got it?
First, I was hoping my leg wasn't broke, but I think I did enough in the judges' eyes to let the world know that I won the fight. Torres is a tough fighter. I mean, he's a world ex-champion, and he has a very slick ground game. But I was able to keep on moving. I made a lot of mistakes, so I got to go back in the gym and fix it. So next time I fight, I don't expose that weakness that I did tonight.
This is for Brian. A lot of the comments that we get on our interviews with you are that people would love to see you fight Tim Kennedy. I know, for the whole military thing, and Dana, I know that you do the fight for the troops and stuff. We haven't really gotten crossover fights yet with Strikeforce, but Brian, does that even interest you? And is that something, Dana, that you could even see possibly happening?
Absolutely not. Doesn't interest me. Tim is a very close friend of mine. We're cut from the same cloth. I don't see a point. But if it's one of those things where, if that's the path for us to be a champion, then, we train together, so we fight each other then anyways. But I can tell you right now that that's a fight that will never interest me. I appreciate Tim for much more than just what he represents in fighting, and neither of us would ever really be interested in fighting each other unless it was what we had to do.
Yeah, especially for Dana. Yeah, during Rampage's intro, you had said he's the greatest knockout artist in the UFC. After seeing Travis Brown's fight tonight, does that sentiment change?
Does what? Does that sentiment change?
Yeah.
I don't think we said he's the greatest knockout artist in UFC history. I said he is one of the knockout artists in the UFC. There's a lot of guys that knock people out, and Rampage is one of them. And now, so is Travis Brown. He's ragging on me for calling you a knockout artist. We'll take one more question.
Yes, question for Brian, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You've said in the past that your skill set has to catch up to your athleticism. After your past 3 performances that you've had, what are your thoughts and how do you feel about that now?
I feel like I'm getting there. A lot of people credit the weight cut, which was certainly something that needed to happen, but the weight cut really happened at the same time that I began to really become well-rounded and really focus on a lot of wrestling. My jiu-jitsu is much better than people realize, but the limiting factor there was really my wrestling, and I focused a lot on that, very hard on the last 2 camps. So, like I said, I think it's going to take another 2 years. I'm still getting better. There's still things for me to learn, and that's encouraging for me, knowing that I'm only going to fight top guys now. So, I'm excited for the future.
Thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Gymgrossisten.com